Hey, hello friends. Today we are going to talk about parallax occlusion mapping. So we will talk about what is parallax occlusion mapping and how it differs from using just normal maps in your scene. Then we will see how to create a parallax occlusion mapping for a flat surface like a ground, um, and use a character in Unreal Engine 5 to see the difference it makes from using just normal map and using parallax occlusion. Then after that we will jump into creating a depth effect for for a storefront. So a storefront is usually it's a just a flat surface like a plane, um, without much without any modeling on it. It's just a flat surface. But after we use the parallax occlusion mapping on it, it looks like it will get a fake depth. Okay, first let's see what we have here. This is a Unreal Engine 5 scene which I just created just for this demo purpose. So this scene has a brick wall and a little bit of smaller size storefront model. This is nothing just a box which was made in 3ds Max and just extruded inwards, and there's a flat surface here. It doesn't have any material yet because I'll be adding that parallax occlusion material on it just to show how to get that depth. And this is a floor, just a mesh from Unreal. That is pretty much it. It's a very simple scene, nothing much, and there's a little bit of lighting here. I added a directional light source, a skylight. So now let's go and jump right into the material, how to create the parallax occlusion effect. Now let me first explain what is a parallax occlusion. Now, when you're creating a texture, we usually have albedo, we have a normal map, we have roughness, then metallic, then we have ambient occlusion. So all these textures make up the material for a surface. So for example, if you take this brick texture, sorry, this brick surface, I will go into buffer buffer visualization and buffer visualization. I'll go into base color. So this only the albedo what you're seeing here right now. So it doesn't show any depth because there is no lighting information. There is no normal map or anything in it. Now, if we go next to the normal map, that is the word normal, you can see this shows the normal map information showing the depth, but there is no color. So all of these map, when you combine them, it gives that effect of depth to it. So when I rotate the lighting, you can actually hold Control and L on the keyboard and just turn the light around. You can see the effect of depth in the now using normal map. But the problem with this method is like when I don't have any lighting. So when I have a kind of diffuse lighting, as in a rainy day, you can actually see it from here. So it's basically a shadow. So it's a shaded area of the texture of the surface. So it doesn't have any depth information on it because normal map needs lighting information to show depth. So here you can see the depth in the bricks because of the lighting. So if I turn off the lighting, as you see the backside of this surface, I don't see any depth. So that's the biggest problem with using just normal map. So this is where parallax occlusion mapping comes in. So what it does is it uses a height map to generate a fake depth effect. I can show this an example of this website. It's in gamedev.net. So they have a nice nice example shown on the website. It's just a box, and this one is just a uh, albedo, normal, and roughness texture. But the second one is one has a parallax occlusion mapping applied on it. So as you can see, the difference there's a big difference between these two. So the first one is showing just a flat surface. Wherever there is light, it has that height information. But wherever there is not much shadows and lit area differences, it is not showing much of a depth. So the top of the box looks just like a flat surface, but the sides are showing mostly height information because there is a slanting light and that light gives that height information. But if you look at the second one here, this one is using parallax occlusion based on a height map. It gives a fake appearance of the geometry being pushed out or pulled in. So that is what parallax occlusion mapping does. There's another example, the same one, but showing that wire look. So it gives you that impression that of the geometry is really going in, and you can see the geometry is getting affected, but actually it is not. It's just making a fake appearance of height. So let's see how we can do it in Unreal. So I will be applying two materials to it with parallax occlusion. One is for the ground. It is a tileable texture. So I'm using a pebble texture, and this is a storefront. Supposed to be a storefront, but it's not. So it is just a box with bricks on it, plus a flat surface. So let's jump right in. So first of all, I'll go into content browser, and under master materials, I'll create a new master material. I'll name it like POM. POM is parallax occlusion mapping. I already have one done for testing, so I'll make it like 2. So 2 underscore mmat. So mmat is master material, and double click this master material. And here there is nothing much. It is just a normal material domain is surface. Blend mode is opaque, and shading model can be just default lit. You don't have to change anything. It can be just a basic shader. Now we need some nodes to connect to some of these. So I already have a material done. Prior to this, I just copy and paste this section from here. Copy and paste. I'll show you exactly what they are. Don't worry about it. So here I have an albedo texture input. You can get this through texture sample. So if you click on texture sample, you will get it. Then I have a mask. It's the same thing, copied, and just convert this into a parameter. So the albedo, I chose a group called textures. So you create a group called texture, and I'm giving it sort priority of 1 because that will be shown as the first texture sampler. Then for a mask, I'm actually naming it as a mask, and sort priority is 2. So that'll be showing as second. Then I have a static switch parameter here. So that actually switches between if you need a mask or not. So why is a mask used for? So mask is used for basically for tint. So I have a tint control, albedo tint, and I'm multiplying that with the albedo texture and plugging it into a lerp where I can actually use a mask to define where I need the tint. So that's a simple albedo texture. I will just connect this to the base color because that'll be the albedo. Then I need UVs. So for UVs, so for UV control, I have UV texture coordinate. Texture coordinates. Sorry about that. So texture coordinate. I need to control both x and y separately. tiling for x and y separately. So how can I do that? So I need a multiply node for multiplying this into a constant vector. So before that, I'm going to combine two constant vectors into one. So getting constant vector, press 1 on the keyboard and just left click and convert this into parameters. And the first one is I will name as tile x. Keep the value as 1 for now, default value tile x, and this is tile y. Tile y default value as 1, and you can keep these two in the group called adjustments. This one, adjustments, both in the same group. Now I'm going to apply these into B. The texture coordinates go into A, and I need to apply this into B. But how can I apply these two into one node? Because I have to connect these two into something. So that is called append vector. So I'm going to type append vector. So I connect these two into append vector, and then just connect the append vector to B in multiply. So that will make now that will give me good control for tiling. So put all these into a group called UV tiling control. Maybe you can name it whatever, and I'll just connect these to the UV output of the texture here. Mask color is going to here. For the mask, you don't need this tiling, I think, because you'll be using a tint mask here. So for now, just remove this. If you want, you can add it later. Now what we need is a normal map and ORM. So for normal, I'll just bring the texture from content drawer. In content drawer, I have sample texture. So PH. So PH is like placeholder. So I'll get placeholder normal and placeholder ORM. Drag them in. I just rename them as converted parameter, and this is normal. This one is ORM. So ORM is I have explained that about this in another tutorial. So O stands for occlusion, R stands for roughness, and M stands for metallicity. So this is a channel packed texture. So this is just one texture with 3 channels separated into ambient occlusion, roughness, and metallicity. So I will use these two and connect the RGB for normal to this normal, and I'll just keep this here so it'll be easier to connect, then I can move it back. So first one is ambient occlusion, then second one is roughness, and third one is metallic blue. So I'll just drag this here. So we will keep it like this for now for the surface. We'll apply the material. Apply the textures to the object, and then we'll start working with Parallax Occlusion. Now let me connect these two, because all of these will be affected by the tiling. So save. Now let's go to the scene first, and I'd apply this material to this floor. So under master materials, you got this POM_2. So I'm going to create a material instance. So first I will use river pebbles _ parallax occlusion mapping number 2, and I will name it as IMAT. So IMAT is material instance, and I will drag this into the materials folder just to keep it organized. That's all. So under materials, I have this river pebbles POM_02. So this is the material we are going to work on to get that parallax occlusion effect. I'll just bring this out because I need to see it in real time. Excuse me. So now we need to drag in all the textures. First, we'll apply it on the mesh. Select the ground mesh, go to details, and change the material to river pebbles POM02. So that's a geometry. Geometry has material right now. It is just blue because we're using placeholder textures. One thing I forgot was I need to move this into proper groups. So go into the master material, and this normal will go into textures. ORM will go into textures. Now once you save it, you will see them jumping into this folder. Okay, now it's perfect. Now let me save the map, and we are all set to go. Okay, now let's go and drag in the textures. So what are the textures we need? Textures we need for 3 of these. That is the what is it called? River pebbles. Let me check. It's called river cobblestone. So it's not river pebbles, river cobblestone, but that's okay. River cobblestone 01, that is albedo. Then river cobblestone normal, and river cobblestone ORM. So we got all the 3 textures here. Just temporarily save it, and let's go and set up the tiling. Now this is like really what stretched out. Now why I set up 2 different controls for tiling is because the albedo is a white texture. Like, it is not square, it's a rectangular texture. So I need controls for both of tiling. So if I use same tiling for both, it may not work in all cases. So when I'm going into my scene, and I have tile X and tile Y. So keep tile X at around maybe around 3, and tile Y I'll keep it around double of that, like 6. So yeah, that looks pretty good. So I have a ground with pebbles, but the problem with this is you can see it like very obviously, because there is no height information. You can still see normals. So when I change the lighting, press Control and L, and just try to move the light around, and I'm just seeing slight variation in the depth. That's because of the normal map, nothing much. So you can see that there is a slight variation in height, but when I don't have lighting information here, like for example, in this direction of light, the light is now almost here. So I'll have to keep the light in a certain angle to see the depth. That is not a problem with the normal map or anything. That is the way things behave when you use just normals for getting the depth information. So there is no height map used here. So that is exactly what we're going to do using parallax occlusion mapping. So let's jump right into it. So the next part of the material is we need to modify it slightly. So what are we going to modify? So this material, this node is called, let me search, parallax occlusion mapping. It's very straightforward. That node looks a bit overwhelming, but it is very simple. There's nothing much complicated here. So we'll be using only this part of the node. So we need a height map texture that is texture 2D. It is not RGB. It is just one of the other channels here. Then we have a height ratio. That's a constant. Then minimum steps is a constant. Maximum steps is a constant. Then we have UVs. So you'll be connecting this UVs into here. Then we have a height map channel. that we need to specify a, a RGB value. Then we have a reference plane. So this reference plane is the one we'll be using to get the storefront depth effect. Okay, so first we need a height map. So for that we need a texture object. Select it, and it will show a default texture. So default texture is the one we actually selected. So if we go to textures, so this ORM is actually selected. Now I just deselect it because it can be a little bit confusing. What I'll do is I'm going to do this, delete this again, then texture object. Now it shows a default texture, and I need to name this as computer parameter height map. So I'll create a new group called POM, that is Parallax Occlusion mapping, and I'll use this as number 1. So this is the first input. So for this, I'm going to use a grayscale image. Select ph underscore grayscale. So that's a texture I'll be using, and we will swap it in the material instance. So connect this to height map. Then we have a height ratio. So that is a constant one vector. So we need a 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need four constants. So press 1 on the keyboard, then click 4 times, and convert all of these into parameter. And the first one is height ratio. Second one is minimum steps. This is maximum steps. And this one is reference plane. Reference plane, again, this is the reference plane height. Reference plane height. So height ratio can be 0. Connect this to here. Height ratio. Minimum steps, I'm actually going to keep it as 8. Connect this to minimum steps. Maximum steps, I'm keeping it as 64. This is an approximate value. There is nothing definite to it. You can actually play around with it in the material instance to get the right amount you need. And reference plane height, I'll keep it 0 for now and connect that to reference plane. Then we need 2 more controls. We need UV and we need a height map channel. So for UVs, I'll take from this UV over here, UV controls. And for the height map channel V4, I'm going to create a V4 vector 4 node. So that is press 4 and left click. You got this, and I'll change the red color to 1. So I'm getting a red here, and connect that to height map channel. So why we're connecting this to a vector 4 is because we need to specify where the height map is going, which channel is going to be referenced for the height map. So we're going to so we are going to reference the red channel for the height map. That's what it means. And connect all of these to all the UVs of the textures. So this actually output is parallax UVs. So we are connecting that to first to the albedo, then we're connecting that to normal, and then the overlap. So that's pretty much it. Now let's save it. And let's go into the material. So still there is not much effect. I mean, there is no effect at all. For the material, I need to assign a height map. So this is a height map under POM. So all of these have to be under POM. So let me change them. So height map is under POM number 1. This is POM. So change all of them to POM. For this, I don't see a group. Okay, I don't think you need a group because there's no control. So this is number 2, 3, 4, and this one is 5. And save them. Okay, now I got all of them in under proper groups. Now let's drag and drop this height map. So I exported a height map for this specific texture from Substance Designer. So this is a simple texture I created. So this is actually downloaded from Megascans. So it's a scan. So we have albedo, normal, then we have roughness, ambient occlusion, and this is a height. So this is displacement. Basically, you can use the same texture for height. If you need to tweak the values, you can do it and then re-export. So I have 4 textures. This is base color, normal, this ORM, and this is height. So ORM has 3 channels. The red is ambient occlusion. Then I have roughness and metallic. So that's pretty much it. So export it, and in Unreal import the textures and get the height map. So under textures, just go to what's it called? The name is always confusing. This one, river cobblestone height. So drag that into the height slot here. It won't make any difference. First save it. Now let's play around with the values. So we need to change the height ratio first of all. So first is height ratio. I'll just tweak it to 0.1. As you can see, right after I changed the value, it just pushed up based on the height map values. So I just try increasing it, height value. If you like the problem with the parallax occlusion mapping is like if you go beyond a certain level, like it'll look weird, because if I zoom in the camera, it'll start looking like stretched and stuff like that. So you got to be very careful when you work with parallax occlusion mapping. So the main advantage is that when I turn off this height ratio, you can see how much of a difference it makes. It actually pushes the geometry up, and also it occludes some part of the geometry. So if I move the camera around, you can see this looks really like a geometry, because it is like occluding parts of it. If you look here, I can minimize this for now. If you look here, it actually is occluding. I think we need to increase the tiling a little bit. Increase the tiling. So right now it is 3 and 6. I will make it like just double 4 and 8, or maybe give it like 6 and 12. So it'll be really sharp. Save it. Now you got a really nice parallax occlusion effect on it. Now if you use a character to play, you see the big difference. So the character's feet are just floating on the ground because it's still a flat plane, and the depth is just being it's an illusion. So it is not real geometry depth, but it creates the illusion of depth. Yeah. So that is for the floor. Now there's another control called plane height. So if I change it like reference plane height, you can see when I change the value, you can see there's a fake depth inside the that flat plane. So what's actually happening is it looks as if it is increasing in depth. So it's a deep surface. It 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 gives a fake appearance like a deep surface. Like it is a like this is a this height of this plane and this plane looks different because the way it is showing in the camera, the way it is being uh, reflected back to the camera. There's a slight difference in angle. So that is what we will do to give a depth effect for this flat plane over here for the storefront. So for this specific texture, we'll increase it. We'll just, I mean, we'll reduce the value to 0.25. So we have to play around with it to get the right, to get the perfect height you need. So yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks really good. I like it. I like this occlusion on this bricks. I mean, sorry, on this pebbles. They look like they have been like lifted up. Yeah, you can do some test on your end and see which one works best for you. Now I will use the same technique for getting that storefront effect. Let me save everything. I will duplicate the material for this. So form 02, duplicate it. So I will change the name to storefront. Storefront. Let me see if I have the same material. Okay, storefront beyond 1. So I give it as beyond 2 and name it as like name it like this. And for this material, I will just revert everything back to default. And I will save it. Now we need to create a texture for the storefront. Now, how will I do that? So for the storefront, what I did was I just downloaded a texture from, I think it was from textures.com. It is this one, yeah, textures.com. It's just a storefront texture. There's nothing much to it. It's just a color texture. You don't need normals for this. It's just a color map. So I took this texture. The size was somewhat like it was not power of 2. So I want to use like everything in a power of 2 for the game. So in Photoshop, I just resized it. So it is a square texture now, 2K by 2K. And what I did was like basically I just did some minor tweaks to it, like so added some color boxes around it just to fill that gap. So that's a texture. So just used same color as the base to fill this section of the box. Somewhat similar color from here to fill this side and top and the right side. And there is some minor adjustment to remove that reflection on the glass because we don't want that, and just tweak some colors to fix some noise at the back. So we got a texture here. So I use this as the color texture, imported this into Unreal. I think I named it as storefront. Let me check where it is. Yeah, it's here. So this is storefront texture, just a color map, and we need a height map for this to work. So the height map is right here. It is again it's the same way. So this side is like the it has to be like it has to move towards black when it is close to the close to wherever you want the most of the depth. Same thing with the other side. Same thing with the top and bottom. and just fill with black. You can even, you don't have to go with pure black. So in my case, I just used a black. So maybe you can just reduce it slightly. So go into levels and reduce the black effect of it, just to give it a kind of gray color. You can even use this to get the height map. Because in height map there is no perfect black. And save this texture as a height texture. So I'm just saving it as a PNG. I'm using it as storefront height. Save it. So save it as large file size. And then going to Unreal, and this is the texture for the height. So I just re-input. So it's slightly less dark. Save everything. Okay. So we'll open the material instance for the storefront and use the textures here. So for the storefront, I'm only using albedo. There's no normal, there's no ORM. So for the albedo, use the storefront texture here, drag and drop, and the height map. I'll use this height map here, drag and drop, and just save it. Now first we'll apply this on the mesh. So select this geometry, go into details panel, and change this to shop. What what the name is? Okay, sorry, storefront, not shopfront. So we got the texture now. So that is just UV'd and modeled in 3ds Max. Nothing fancy about it. It's just a simple box, and just extrude in, and it's a flat surface. So the objective of this example is to get that parallax effect, giving us depth, that it is not a flat surface. Okay, now let's go in and get a material. So I'll keep it in the side so that you can see it properly. Now we already have a height map applied here. Now the first thing to do is to increase the height ratio. So I'll just increase the height ratio here. It doesn't show anything, and change the reference plane height. So once I start to play around with the reference plane height, what happens is like it is actually being pushed backwards. So the reference plane is like getting pushed backwards, and I can see that the picture is like inside that wall. So actually it's not just a flat, just a flat mesh, and there's no way I can actually push that geometry in. This is just a plane. So with just one texture, one height map, I can actually create an illusion that it is actually, there is depth in it. So when you go to the side, you can see this kind of banding, but that's because of this minimum and maximum steps. So just play around with it, and you can find a good place to keep it reduced to the minimum. So like if you go too high, it might be a little bit buggy, but find that best balance for both. So maybe I can just use 100 for this, and minimum steps is like maybe 20. Yeah, that's pretty good. For minimum steps, increase that to 100. Yeah, that's good. So maximum is like 150. So I can actually go slightly above it, maybe 120. So it is getting smoothed out. But if you go too close to the wall, it'll give that kind of multiplying like tiling effect. So don't go too close. Find some way to block it, like with a prop or something. Block it here and block it here, so the character cannot go too close to the wall. Now let's save it and do a test. So just use a character here. Just walk around this Parallax Occlusion. It's pretty good. So it is actually showing that that storefront is storefront has depth just by using a simple plane. There's nothing in it. There's no geometry. It's just two triangles. But just with a height map and parallax occlusion mapping, we can get that nice effect, nice depth. So same thing with this floor. Parallax occlusion mapping is a little bit heavy on the GPU and CPU, so it could affect the performance of your game. So use it wisely. Don't use it everywhere. It can actually it can be very buggy and it can slow down the game performance. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're happy about this video, just comment. You can ask me anything. You can like it or unlike it, whatever. And please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.